Corey is back. All Corey, all the time. I love plants, but I love fish. They're mouth-brooding bettas. These I brought back from Europe. The turtles are just chilling in here. Hey, Teacup Platy, you're pooping a lot, buddy. I got a mouthful of babies. Ooh, you can see the fungus starting to happen. The new and improved fish room. Let's check it out. Hey everyone, Corey from Aquariumcoop. Today, we're doing the new and improved fish room. The dust is settled, and we're gonna take a look at it. You might have seen some stuff on AquaPros, aka Fish Tank Mike's channel, but I've got a whole different take on it, and maybe you guys wanna hear what I got to say. Let's check it out. First, I'm gonna start on this 125. This was the last tank we did, actually, and it's the one that's least done, but I did it. We used a purple jade rock, and the goal was, I fell in love with a tank probably 15 years ago, and it was basically lots of Vallisneria in the corners. They actually had a little bit in the middle, but I didn't like that. And then African cichlids. Now, I am going to put some African cichlids in here, but not the typical Mabuna or anything like that. You'll have to see. It was way too expensive. It was like 450 bucks and for 7 fish. And they're going to breed in here, and so they're an African cichlid, and they're not going to eat these cherry shrimps. So stay tuned for that. That's eventually coming. Right now, we had to fill up the water, put it on a power head. We've got the two, sponge filters. Now, when that Vallisneria comes up, it's going to block the sponge filters. That's why they're green. They blend in once they're grown in, right? Now, all the turtles, they did have to move. These are all kind of the staging tanks that we'll be doing next, and I still have a complete dump run to be doing. Recycling, all breaking down the cardboard, that kind of stuff. The turtles are just chilling in here. They don't have a lay box anymore. They're hanging out with all these gigantic mono shrimps. And long term, we're going to build them a pond inside here. But in the short term, to do what I wanted to do and get another 125 right over there, we did that move. And the fish are on the way and everything, so I'm ready to go. Now I'll show you the 12 40 breeders, and I'll say it was fairly difficult to come up with 12 styles that fit what I want to keep, that I want to maintain, the fish, the plants, and my simple style, and using sponge filters in all of them. So in this 40 breeder, we went with Bulbitis that I've been growing out forever and a day. It's always been in ponds and just, it's one of my absolute favorite plants, very slow growing. You feed it easy green, easy mode. Then we went with Ceru Stone, so you got this nice green and gray contrast, the brown gravel which hides all the poop, which I love. Then we needed color, so I decided Teacup Platies. Hey Teacup Platy, you're pooping a lot, buddy. That's not good for a camera. You're a little indecent, but he'll get over it. So those guys weren't really producing fry because my pearlweed carpet died out when I was in China, and they stopped producing fry, so I only brought one baby plus the adults over. Now, what we're going to see is if the eel that lives in here, which I'll have to collect some B-roll because he likes to be super hidey, if he will eat all the babies or not. I also put a dwarf Claro bristlenose pleco. That's what that guy is right there. That is full grown. It's about 2 inches, and we're growing out some of those and just getting them to pair off, and we're going to breed those in another tank that I'll show you. But we did build in this cave structure. It's actually a piece of ABS, like plumbing, that is in a U shape, but a lot of times he will take a different cave in here, and that's kind of by design. We wanted that. So when you step back, I think that tank looks way better than it used to, and maybe the editor will be able to find footage of how bad that was with the Anubias that I'd ordered from a competitor when I was testing, and they were rotting, so that wasn't good. The Amazon sword plant that was covered in algae. We still have black beard algae, and I still might put something in there to chew on that in the back, but for now, kind of just letting us do its thing. You can see the flow up above there, kind of get this nice cross angle pattern. And we ended up putting 2 lights on all the tanks, and it was not so much for viewing, it was for filming. When you're filming, you want to be lighted it all up so you can see front and back, and we weren't being able to get that. So we put 2 lights on these tanks, and I turned them down to about 30%. Some of the backlights are only at 20%. Some of the fronts are up to 40%. It just depends on the fish and the color of the overall tank. So it added an incredible amount of cost, and I'm not recommending everybody do that. And the lights, you know, if you put 2 of them at full brightness, it just gets stupid, you know. So if I crank one of these, let me find the old, there we go. So if I crank this one up, it was, you know, real low. Like, I can crank that guy, and that's the one in the back. You can see the problem you run into is the fish only look good when they swim towards the back. And so I was only being able to light up front or back well, and because it's so bright, they look washed out. Now, if you do the opposite, and let's go back down to where I was. So this is one of the old models, so it doesn't have a percentage, but I go all the way down, and then I go like 1, take a look at it, nope, 2, maybe it's 3, maybe it's 2, maybe it's 3. I like 2 in the back because those plants are taller. And then if I find the new one that I just installed, this bad boy right here, I took it from another tank, so it still doesn't have a percentage, but if you crank that one up too much, now I'm gonna have infinite algae in the front, and the back looks way too dim. And if both of them are bright, it's just algae soup. So again, I come way back down to the bottom, right? And now too dark in the front, they're all shadowy. Okay, hey, that's looking pretty good. Maybe it's 3 clicks. There you go. Now, I'll show you the other thing here. If we were to just turn this one off, so now it's just completely off. And I was kind of running lights here, or you can run it right in front of where I was. And this is a problem with my tops, not so much anything else. So it can run right there, and now it's a little bit too dim. You see how you can see the fish, but the back is just, it's a void. It's a black void. So then you got to turn it up, right? So now we will turn it up. So we start, how high do we got to go to see the back? Start getting really bright, and yeah, the fish, super duper bright, almost too bright, washed out. And still have dark in the back, and you're gonna get a lot of algae up front. So my solution is, let's just bring it all down, get it, you know, that's the lowest it goes, 1, 2, 3. You put that bad boy in the back, just like that. Now the back's nice and lit up for these low light plants. Now we kick the original one back on, and boom, I have a well-lit, even tank, and that's gonna show much better on camera. Now, in person, it was a little different, so do know that, but, so all the tanks got that treatment. So that'll explain why I did that. Let me clean up super glue and stuff on the floor so I don't super glue the floor here. Parts in the tray. Okay. So next up, we did the lava Rockscape. These are lava rocks that have holes drilled in them by the manufacturer. You don't really manufacture rocks, but you know what I mean. And we put a bunch of Anubias on it. I love Anubias rock look. I've done it many times over the last 15 years. It always grows in well. And it's slow growing and easy to take care of. Just got to squirt some Easy Green in. Those are my favorite types of tanks. Now, with the red and the green, instead of gray and green, right? We needed a different color fish. That's why I went with blue fish. Now, these are very subtle blue fish. The blue Mickey Mouse Platy. But my main goal, so I'm a fish breeder first and a plant guy second. I love plants, but I love fish. And so I wanted every tank to produce babies. I actually think this tank's a little bit too bright now. I'm gonna have to dial it down a little bit. I had it perfect and then I messed with it. But I like every tank to produce babies, and you can see, let's see, where'd they go? I just saw them in here. There are some babies in here already. Well, there's shrimp, red cherry shrimps. Oh, right back in the, way back there. Let's see if we can get it to, see that baby? Enhance. So there's some little babies in there. And that's what I want. I want them to go in between the rocks and in between the leaves and all that, and just produce a bunch of fish, because that looks good to me and it makes me feel good. And that's what the emotions that I want to evoke in the aquariums. Now, it's not just me that enjoy these aquariums. You guys enjoy them, but we also have kids come by. And the kids come by and they want to feed the fish, and it's way easier when there's a bunch of fish in there to feed them because they can put a lot in. And they like to see the babies, and I get to share with people. Mike was here and he goes, oh, can I get some of these? Can I get some of those when they breed? And lots of my friends are that way, like, oh, that's really cool. Where'd that come from? And I go, oh, well, I bought them all. Or I had to bring, like these guys I had to bring back from another country. You might have seen there was a super red bristlenose longfin in there as well to just help with the algae. Yeah, we got snails, right? We got nerite snails. We've also got some ram's horn snails. And then, a bunch of shrimp. You can see they're going to town back there. They're going, oh yeah, clean that background. But all these work in harmony, hopefully, to mitigate some of the algae. You can see you got shrimp on detail here. And so everything's working together well. All right, next up we have the Vienna Guppy tank. These I brought back from Europe. They were at the Guppy World Championships, and boy, howdy, do I love them. And they've made lots of money. People have flown in to get them from the store. People are breeding them now, which is amazing. They're all over the country. And so I got rid of them out of the pond when I broke down, and then people weren't breeding them, so it kind of became a scramble. I got them back, thinking, okay, everybody will get them. And now I'm making sure that we keep a bloodline going of them. This tank still suffers from a little bit cloudy water. I think it's the sand substrate, even though I never had that problem in the previous fish room. But if you look over here, super clear, little bit of haziness to it. So we'll see if I can get to the bottom of it. If I can't, we might have to swap substrates in 3 months, which I know that there's this big thing on the internet right now where, oh, you never use gravel, you only use sand. Like, that's the only way to do an aquarium, and I couldn't disagree more. I really like gravel of different sizes. And this sand isn't the finest sand, but it's a little bit coarse. But that's neither here nor there. What we have is what we're calling fancy mountains. That's what they were sold to us as, and they're carved ceru stone. Kind of make these little mountains and different striations and all that. And so they just kind of went across the back to set almost like a second focal point. You got the front and you got the back. Then behind that, we put some giant Java fern that I bought at my local club auction. Throw it back there. That'll feed on easy green. Great. And then we've got all the crypts up front, which I think they look good. I like them. But they're not spreading very fast. And I suspect that's my hard water. But we're going to find that out because I planted a bunch of crypts in gravel, and we'll see if they work any different. So in here you can see I've got lots of boys and girls. The boys have all the color, the females don't. Not a lot of babies though, because the tanks they were in didn't have a whole lot of cover. So as this stuff grows in, also, as I was explaining to Mike when he was over, there's a lot of males, and so the males are going to chase down extra babies. They're going to run the females ragged, kind of like what's going on in the background right now, chasing them down. And so at some point here, probably in the next week or two, I'm going to remove probably 80% of the males. And we'll take them to the store to sell them as sorted guppies, and I will be choosing who I want the male bloodlines to carry on. Because there's a lot of difference in my opinion. There's like this guy who's got really nice tail shape, that really nice orange. Like, he's kind of, I think, a perfect specimen. But then you look up and you go, well, what about that one? That one's got different orange. Let me back up a little bit. Tail's not perfect, but more intense orange and more black. And so maybe, what I like to do with the Livebearers is I like to kind of cull. And culling for me just means take them to a fish store and let somebody else enjoy them. But I remove a lot of the traits that I don't like. And so that could be too small of females, that could be bent spines, that could be color variations, extra males. And I just try to keep making this over time. So if I keep this tank for the next 5 years, well, it's hard for me to do because I do so much YouTube. But if I was to do it for the next 5 years, hopefully this gets better and better and better. And that's what I did early in my hobby, is I kept fish for a long, long time because they were profitable, and that actually helped me pay my rent. And so I miss having fish that I didn't invent them, but I made them better. And when I would go see other people's fish they had made, mine would be superior to my eye. And I keep fish for me, so why not make them better for me, right? We'll scroll over here. This was the Trout Goodia tank. Was only Vallisneria and had the tile right up here. Oh no, we've lost we've lost a platy. See it right there? I'll probably put this on my back, and this is a casualty of redoing so many tanks and all of that. So I'll be pulling that out. You know, this is one I got from Bob, so he brought me some babies, and there's still one Trout Goodia in there. And so they were new to my system, you know, and I'll take this on the chin of new to my system. And then, you know, basically like 3 days later, we rock their world with more substrate, and we put in the Ceru stone, we plant all these crypts. So that's probably on me. So hopefully I'll get male and female of these, and I'll make way more. That's part of how I deal with keeping fish. When I lose a fish, I don't think anybody enjoys that. And how I reconcile it in my head is, well, if I make 1,000 of these things over the next year and a half, one casualty is not so bad, especially because I feel like that one could be on me. It's not a full-grown adult, and maybe there's nothing I could have done. Could have had a heart attack or something, but probably the stress I put it through. But when fish die of old age and that kind of stuff, like, okay, that's, you know, kind of a normal thing, but I feel extra guilty when that happens, so, you know, I'll be pulling that body when I'm done filming here. But we'll talk about the tank some more. So we've got all the long valve that's going to grow in much longer, and we're going to keep it behind this wall we've made. And these will all be red crypts. Now these are grown immersed. So this is, you know, close to something you would buy from us, where you're like, oh, all these leaves, they don't look red at all, even though you bought it as red when dead-eye. They will break down and convert into new leaves, like this little guy right here. Let me zoom in. You see that leaf right there? That's a newer leaf, right? So they'll come out of the center of it, and they'll look much different. And they'll start looking like, oh, like this stuff over here, right? Again, we've got the filter in the back, kind of blends in really nice. That green with the green vallisneria, you don't even know it's there. It got good flow. And I think this tank is going to be one to enjoy for more time to come. Wasn't dramatic. Now this one did kind of get some facelifts. We originally put in the purple jade rock when I got it because I thought it was cool. But it was a little bit too slippery. And why did I want slippery rock? Well, you don't want to like cut up or scratch the bottom sides of the turtles. Sorry about the interruption. They were blowing up my phone because they were having trouble shipping the fish for the 125-gallon tank. So we got that straightened out, hopefully. They should arrive tomorrow. But anyway, we don't want to scratch up basically their tummies. And so we go with smooth rock. But they got all those little claws, and they want to crawl up on top of stuff. And so that's what the wood is for. By merging it with the wood, now they can crawl on it. They can get up out of the water. Made a little waterfall. So I increased the easy flow, which those will be for sale. By the time this releases, might already be. It'll be right within there. If not, you can go to the website and put your name in, and you'll be notified as soon as we got them. But so yeah, this is just these guys, and then we put these yellow. We put the yellow hyphen platies in. I'm not seeing the female. I don't know if she's hanging out down low or where she's at the moment, but you know, a little bit of fry in here. Where'd it go? Yeah, right there. So starting to come to life, even though we got all these little baby turtles in there, and they typically don't prey on the babies too hard, especially with all the babies being able to dart in here. But now they've got this playground where they can, you know, I'm going to chill here, and there's one back on the sponge filter in the reflection. And makes it easy to feed them. And I've got 2 more pairs of the yellows coming. So I bought one originally from Dan's Fish. And if you don't know, we now affiliate with Dan's Fish. So they try to send people our way, and we're trying to send people their way. And we each get a percentage from each other. So do know that. And if you use the code Aquariumcoop, you save 5%. And I get a cut. So I ordered 2 more pairs. There's no more left. I bought them all, so maybe he'll restock them, but I fell in love with them. I bought a lot of the Livebearers. You'll see some more stuff I bought. I've been doing some testing and that, and, you know, I heard you guys, you wanted another place that would ship outside of Washington, or into Washington, which Aquahuna wouldn't, and then also they ship to Canada. So that's even further reach. So I just thought, you know, I've watched them for 4 years. We've been talking. And now it's time to go, okay, let's start working together, and we'll see how this relationship blossoms. Next up, we've got what I call the best guppies in the world. And I've only moved the adults because Mike might be coming back for the fry to use an experiment for his legit fish food. So even though I've got a tank where they were in quarantine, and there's probably 30 fry. Over here, only 1 fry came with them. But what makes these the best guppies in the world is all those big tails, like that one right there. That's the girls. The girls look awesome. So the males, these males kind of came to me a little beat up, a little bit. That one's looking okay, but the other male doesn't look so great. But that's what I love, that the females are also super colorful. So in this one, we went to gravel. We went to the store and got Pygmy Chainsword from Murphy's tank because we have to take so much out of it because it grows so much. It was a little bit hungry. Not quite enough fish poop was going on. Murphy's been on the fritz. He's not wanting to eat. He's kind of going blind a little bit. We've been trying stuff for like 8 or 9 months now. And so we weren't putting a lot of fertilizer in, and the plants were living off of fish poop, and they were getting a little bit translucent. So now we're going to pump them full of food here. And that's what you notice when you need more food, things like that. The leaves are turning translucent. Start getting more food in there, both root tabs and liquid. The snails will go and eat the translucent leaves, which is great. They help you clean up. But we'll get that to carpet in. It always takes, like, I think, 4 to 6 weeks for plants to really come to a new home. It's going to be way harder water here and start spreading. So we got time ahead of us to get this grown in. We went with the stone called chicken bone stone, and the goal is just kind of have these little, mountains, little hills to come out of the Pygmy Chainsword. And so as it grows in, that'll stay low. All the babies can go down. We'll still get a great view on all of the fish. So, yeah, not much else to say about that one. Over here, this one went with Spiderwood and black lava rock, and we attached basically a Nubius to all the rocks to make this kind of weird, funny, cool scape where there's lots of room down below. There's shrimp in here, lots of shrimp we left in. And then there are the midnight guppies. Now these I've bred for many, many, many years. This strain I just bought. I bought it from Dan's Fish actually. And what I would do when I make babies, I want that to be a thicker male. The tail, that big black delta tail, the peduncle, the muscle that goes to it, is kind of thin compared to the females are holding their tails better. I would want to work on that, and I want to get them to be a little more dark instead of, they've got a little bit of blue on the top of them. So I'll be working on that, and they also throw albinos, so you'll need to remove those, but they've started to release some fry. You can see some babies, and we'll just colony breed them like we normally do. Let all the plants down low. I think we did Crypt Wendeti green down here. So it's a lot of green. You can see there's tannins in the water, so if we look at how clear that tank is, the wood is going to fungus up a lot, so the shrimp will help with that. And they'll release tannins, and hopefully the water changes will fix that. I actually am going to move once. So you see how the filter is kind of blowing across the back? Once the roots have a chance to grab onto the rock, so maybe in 3 or 4 weeks, I will move that so it blows kind of in the front. But I don't want to dislodge any of these that are kind of just chilling there. And we can see the fungus starting to happen. This is a normal process with the spiderwood. So you can see two right there. So there's a little bit of fungus on the edge of that stick, and that will eventually be all of those sticks. The shrimp and the fish and everything will eat it, and then it'll be clean and good to go, but it takes like a couple weeks. So it's going to look real bad before it looks better, but that's kind of how aquariums go. Over here, this is kind of the leftovers tank. This is the last one, the last of the 12 gallons we did. Last of these 12 40 breeders we did. We made an island out of dragon stone, right? Dragon oku stone. Put a bunch of Crypt lutea all around, which those are going to kind of grow in shorter and melt back. And then we put Pinnatifida, this red plant, up here. So it's going to kind of be lots of green down low, and then this red, stuff up top. And we've got these kind of cobra lace guppies, which those could get swapped out at some point. I'm just going to make a bunch more and figure out what I want to do with them for now. I've been having a hard time finding all the Livebearers and stuff I want to keep. So I've been scouring Aquabid, Aquahuna, Dan's Fish. The call that interrupted me was I ordered some stuff from rarefishusa.com. Those are the expensive ones. And so I've just been scouring to find the stuff that I'm interested in. So, yeah, there's a nice female right there. A couple females. Simple scape, easy, and it'll look much cooler when grown in. Over here, we went with wood. You see that little, like, I would call it the tanning glow compared to that stark white glow. And we got a fish from Dan's Fish. I've never kept this fish before, but I was so blown away by the pictures. I go, if it's halfway decent, and it was, I'm going to love this fish. This is Limia perugiae. All those spangles on the males, the yellow tail, and then the color on the dorsal, and then the females. Now, I ordered, I think, 1 or 2 more pairs of these because I wanted to build these out a little more. And the tank itself, it's a bunch of bulbitis again on the wood. And then down low, we needed a little something, so we put some dwarf Sagittaria to carpet. And then there's the secret fish. Way in there. Corydoras hastatus. They will school back and forth in the front of the tank if I'm not close. So I might try to get some footage. I have to set up a tripod and just let it run. But when they're surfing the front, it's so cool. But you can't be sitting right here. You got to look at it from across the room. Still got a lot of algae on the back, so I might have to do some algae control in here. We will see as time goes on that. I did put, so almost all the tanks got some Amano shrimp just to help. But, you know, see, here they are. They're starting to get a little more comfortable with me being here. Starting to get up in the water column. They're cool. Hastatus are cool because they're a dwarf cory that swims mid-water. So that's neat. This tank I did all by myself, which all the other tanks I pretty much had input and helped in some way, but this one was just all me because I kept trying to explain what I wanted to do to Mike, and he's like, I don't see it. I don't understand what you're trying to do. So this one was, I wanted to make a big hill, a rocky hill, and then have like roots come out and then plant some plants on it. And this was because we had these betta pugnax, that's these females up front here, these big lunkers. They're mouth-brooding bettas. And then I also had bought these guys, these buffalo head cichlids, and they love to perch on top of stuff. They don't really have a swim bladder, so they swim, and then they just kind of fall to the bottom and go, boop, that's where I'm going to stay. And so they need lots of ledges to set on, and that's what we made. There's all these ledges, you know, in the front and in the back for them to be. Now, they're going to dig some pits eventually and breed. We also have the breeding pair, hopefully, of the dwarf plecos in here, the dwarf claro plecos. And I'm hoping that the bettas will spit some out. So we've used Ceravstone, we used basically Malaysian driftwood, and we use Anubias. Oh, there, I think that's the male right back there. He's checking me out going, hey, this is my castle, what are you doing? He goes, I got a mouthful of babies, otherwise I'd beat you up. So he'll go spit those hopefully in the plants, put the sponge filter on the right just to get the flow going. In this scape, it would have been hard to service the sponge filter and hide it, so we choose not to. Just leave it out and bring the focal point over here. You don't really notice it when you're all the fish and everything are to the left. So, next up, we've got another lava rock tank. We've got the Anubias. We left a couple of caves empty so fish can get in there. We've got the dwarf sage. This was just a dwarf sage carpet that was sad. Now we're hoping to make it less sad. I brought in a bunch of rainbow sharks to help with some of the algae in tanks. Just because I haven't kept those in a long time. And then the fish in here are Nezaquatl. Nezzies for short. And what they do, they're a wild-caught livebearer. They're a swordtail. And when they grow out, the swordtail looks like a saber. It actually goes up instead of down. So they'll get these big, long, well, not super long, but about that long, and the saber will go up, as opposed to swordtails normally go down. Fun fish, wild-caught fish. Well, this isn't wild-caught, but wild strain, males and females. I think I've seen a couple of fry in here somewhere, maybe. But this should be a nice breeding paradise for them. And we're just going to let them do that. A couple of stuff came uprooted, so I got to pull that when I go pull that one fish that was dead. You see there and in the corner, we'll either plant those or pull them out. And really the big thing is when you do a major overhaul is letting all this stuff kind of mature and season and get rooted and get used to its new life. It's got different lighting, different fish, different rocks, different, fertilizer schedule, all that. Oh yeah, I forgot. I just saw it. There's also pygmy cories in here. I just saw them go in the cave. I don't know if, yeah, you can, I don't know if we'll ever be able to show it off on camera, but back there in that hole, every once in a while they'll come out. So I love to have little hidey holes. There's a pygmy cory. Yeah, they're coming out of that hole. So there's 2 of them right there. I love to have a little hidey hole so they can go and do whatever they want, and it increases the chance that babies... Oh yeah, in this tank, we also have the red Pinocchio shrimp that I ordered from... I think I ordered them from buypetshrimp.com, from Lucas. And they seem to eat algae really well. So I've only done 1 tank though, so don't take my word for it. Like whenever I haven't replicated anything, I'm hesitant to recommend it, because like that could just have been the natural progression. This tank is kind of the one we touched the least. So I killed a bunch of algae in it, but it's got the Zenataka Dordoroi. I can never say that. It used to be Zenataka Eisenai, which is super easy to say, but now it's Dordoroi. And this is a Livebearer. It likes cooler water. It's kind of like the Trout Goodia. They usually snack on algae a little bit. They'll get a lot more color on the males, even though mine are still young. So there's a couple males right there, 3 males. And then the females don't really get much color. I planted a plant that we don't sell. That's Vesuvius. It looks nothing like that when it grows in. It'll be squirrely, kind of like that little thing, that little squirrely curlicue. It'll be all that, and it'll look super cool, but that's 3 months away. And you can see here that there's still some algae, but I put in algae eaters. So you go Monster Amano shrimp doing works, right? And there's still, you know, algae to be eaten that we killed off with hydrogen peroxide. In fact, there's a hydrogen peroxide right there. Yeah, so this gave me a new base to really have some fun and start playing with it again. And that's been super cool for me. I'm reinvigorated. You know, here I am shooting a tour, and I'm proud of the tanks. I like the fish. I'm buying fish again, testing products again. By the way, I bought this little guy to stir up some algae. It came with a broken impeller. Like, that's exactly why we stopped selling AquaClear. Like, come on, I love you. And when they work, I love it. But when you don't work, you're killing me, Smalls. Still testing a couple of lights on this tank. What do you guys like? Do you like the more orange, spotlighty, or a little bit wider white light? I also added the hatchet fish in here and keeping it darker like they would be in the wild. And then the Rasbora hets. So I think I'm going to order a big fake log or something for here, because it's really hard to make it look cool when you can't use live plants. And even the plastic plants, he likes to bite them. Quit it, Elmer. Quit biting the plants. I did clean the canister filter in this. We gravel vacked a ton and took out all the rocks and supercharged the water flow. So that's good. Let's take a look at Ladybird wrap this bad boy up. All right, so here we go. We got Ladybird. Again, she hasn't eaten yet today, so she's going, well, I could sharpen my teeth right on your acrylic, Dad. One day we'll have to have that polished if she ever moves out to a bigger tank or something. So we've got all the Trout Goodias in here, and boy howdy is there a lot. They've been snacking on algae. I pulled a bunch of it out. Hopefully, now that I've pulled the lion's share, so it used to be just a big algae pocket through here of hair algae. Hopefully the plants will start spreading a little bit more dense, and they'll start working on the blackbeard algae. I also added that rainbow shark. Where'd it go? Yeah, right there. Gotta zoom in a lot on a big tank. Rainbow shark. And then there's a flagtail Procholotus, which will get like 2 feet eventually, so that's gonna be a problem long term, but I got years to deal with that. But they're really good algae eaters too. So hopefully they'll all get along and play nice with Ladybird. And hopefully you'll get those big lips. He's got huge, focus. He's got huge lips. And they can just pull off algae off of things. Go do it. Do it on camera. That'd be amazing. You'd be my friend. Do it. Not my friend yet. He's only been here for like 3 days. But one of my favorite fish, I love the Alice in Wonderland type tail. They get big. They eat algae and not so much meat products. And so I'm pretty laid back. Honestly, I was basically undiagnosed fish room depression. My own new clinical term of like, what Mike and I accomplished in 4 days of like 10-hour days was 40 hours. And what I was doing is maybe I'd get in here for like 4 hours, and the first hour would be like feeding and cleaning a little bit of stuff and testing a product or whatever. Then there might be 3 more hours. And that would have taken me 20 days. But in 20 days, where you started cleaning algae, you started doing a thing, that's coming back. And I was never getting ahead due to travel and just work stresses. And, you know, my business partner had almost died a few times. And so it really made me resent the fish room. Like, I love fish, but I didn't love the state it was in. And so Dean's been busy helping me with the retail store. And part of that was, you know, oh, I got a day to work on it. Like this, this will have already passed by the time you see it, but like this Friday, I'm going to work at the store expansion all day, and maybe Sunday as well. And those were days that normally I would have put in the fish room and filmed and had a great time. Instead, it's not as applicable, it's not as fun at the store expansion. We film a little bit sometimes, but there's still the dread of coming back and just feeding the fish going, oh, that tank looks terrible. Oh, I really got to do this. What's going on here? And so if you guys have ever felt that, try to get yourself a buddy, you know. As I kind of coined it with Mike, I was like, hey, it's like you're my Aquarium Anonymous buddy. You know, you're like keeping me honest of like, hey, you know, and I'd be like, oh man, I was really being a Debbie Downer, if I'm gonna be honest. I'd be like, yep, it'd be great until those crypts never come back. They're gonna melt back and never come back, and that'll be on camera. And Mike was really good at being positive and just saying like, don't even manifest that. Don't put that into the world. Like, you're a professional, you've grown this crypt 10,000 times, you've got a warehouse full of them thriving. Like, don't even stress yourself out about that kind of stuff. If it happens, it's gonna happen, and we can fix it. We're professionals and we know what we're doing. But that had like rotted my brain with my aquariums, where I do a thing, I get busy, I don't get the attention to it, I come back and it's terrible. And so now I'm past it. I feel like I'm honestly past it. I was excited. We filmed videos all weekend, and next day I'm filming this video. I made a list of ideas for videos to film, which I hadn't done in a long time. And I think you guys are really gonna like it. It's really like Corey is back. Like, all Corey all the time. If you don't like me on the camera, you're gonna have to find another channel. If you've been waiting for this day, we're back, we're in session, and we're doing a lot of videos. We're gonna have a lot of fun. And I'm gonna chase the dream. I'm chasing the dream of what's the next fun thing I think I have a fly on my head, is that true? What's the next thing I'm gonna do? I wanna go back to Germany. I wanna visit Israel again, see some of those farms, which obviously right now is not the time. But there's so many places around the world I wanna see. There's so much I wanna do in the fish room. There's still Livebearers I'm looking for. A new partnership with Dan's Fish really helped out. I got 2 Livebearers that I've never had before. Like, that's huge for me when you've been doing it for 15 plus years. You've seen it a lot of it, not at all, but you've seen a lot of it, you've done a lot of it. And so I'm super stoked. Unfortunately, I literally have to go to the orthodontist. And wrapping this video up, I really, really appreciate you guys that have hung with me. You know, maybe you just found me yesterday, maybe you've been with me for 10 years on YouTube, maybe you found me 3 years ago. I know I was in the slump, and I've tried to get out of it, tried this, tried that, and part of it was me, part of it was just circumstances. Now, the whole business is aligned. Make Corey, have fun, and make content. That's what we want to do. Everybody else is dialed in, they're running stuff, test products, I can do that. But when it comes to this thing over here needs to be handled, the business will handle that. And I go, what video am I cooking up this week? Because we're gonna have some fun. So I will see you there. Thanks so much. And I truly do appreciate all the support you guys have shown me, both in videos and financially and all of that stuff over the years. And I'm really excited to, you know, and I know I've said that before, so hold this against me in 3 months of like, you said, we're back, baby. I'll talk to you later.